Shaq doesn't buy it, lets Alvin know he's just a chipmunk, and then Shaq decks him. Wow, Shaq.
Shaquille O'Neal, Pat Riley, and Steve Kerr are at the heart of a heated conversation that's shaking up the NBA world. Now, if you're familiar with these names, you know we're diving into some legendary territory. From betrayal to brutal honesty, this explosive drama will have you hooked from the start.
I'm the first guy to convince Pat to break his waist.
So, let's get into it, because the drama is very interesting. First things first, we gotta understand the context of Shaquille O'Neal's time with the Miami Heat. When Shaq arrived in Miami in 2004, it wasn't just a big deal, it was the deal. Shaq was the centerpiece, the franchise player, and with his arrival, the Heat's championship aspirations skyrocketed. Fast forward to 2006, Shaq delivered. He helped bring Miami its first ever NBA championship. He was a legend, no doubt. But as we all know, things don't always stay sweet for long in the world of sports, especially when the big names start clashing behind the scenes. By 2008, Shaq and Pat Riley's relationship was already on the rocks. The tension started building up, and it didn't help that the Heat were struggling. The team's performance was faltering, Shaq's body was breaking down, and off-court drama was piling up. Shaq was going through a tough time in his personal life too, dealing with a pending divorce from his ex-wife, Shawnee. All of this was weighing heavily on his mind. But what really set things off was when Pat Riley, the man who brought Shaq to Miami, went too far with some accusations that would set the stage for one of the nastiest breakups in NBA history. Pat Riley, the same man who had once given Shaq the keys to the Miami Heat kingdom, started telling people behind closed doors that Shaq was faking injuries. Yeah, you heard that right. He was telling folks that Shaq was using his injury as an excuse not to play. On top of that, Riley claimed Shaq's personal life, his divorce, was contributing to his lack of motivation to help the team win. But here's where it gets real shady. Kerr told Shaq straight up, "Yo, Pat Riley's out here saying you're faking your injury." Talk about a gut punch. Shaq couldn't believe it. This was coming from the man he had once trusted, the guy who had helped him get to that point in his career. It was betrayal of the highest order, and it stung. Shaq, in his memoir, Shaq Uncut, described how the whole situation unfolded.
I was so amazed at his leadership and how he played. And
let me tell you, the way he described it, it wasn't pretty.
when I was with him, I wasn't the Shaq, but I was a good role player. We were first in our conference.
He was upset, hurt, and confused. He said, Pat started telling people that he's faking it. He's getting a divorce. We've got a bad record, so he doesn't feel like playing anymore. In Riley's defense, he probably thought that if he called Shaq's injury into question, he'd be able to get Phoenix to sign the aging superstar. After all, no one was really sure how much juice Shaq had left in the tank, but that doesn't excuse what Riley did. He went behind Shaq's back, slandering him to get what he wanted, and that's a low blow in any sport. So there Shaq was, dealing with everything from his body falling apart to his personal life being in turmoil. He was frustrated, tired, and emotionally drained. And then, out of nowhere, the man he had trusted to guide him in Miami hit him with the 1-2 punch of accusations. Shaq didn't take it lightly. In his memoir, he admitted, "I'm not going to lie. It stung me." And you can see why. If Riley had just come to him directly, they could have talked things through. But instead, Riley went behind his back and made it personal. Shaq went on to say that if Riley had pulled him aside and said, "Look, it's just not working anymore," they could have handled it like professionals. No drama, no ugly mess. Shaq recalls a heated moment during practice when Jason Williams was late and Riley went off on him. As you know, Riley doesn't play when it comes to discipline. He's got that Godfather vibe, and if you step out of line, you're gonna feel the heat. So Riley starts cussing out Williams, telling him to get out of there. But what happens next is pure chaos. Shaq, being Shaq, wasn't about to just stand by and let his teammate get called out like that. He stepped in and asked Williams to stay, straight up defying Riley's orders. And that, my friends, was the moment the fuse was lit. Riley lost it. He screamed at Shaq, telling him to leave practice if he didn't like how things were going. But Shaq, always the alpha, wasn't backing down. The two men went face to face, jaw to jaw, and Shaq didn't just stay calm. He was poking Riley in the chest, and Riley kept slapping his finger away, trying to get the big man to back off. It was getting wild. At one point, Udonis Haslem and Alonzo Mourning stepped in, but Shaq wasn't having it. He shoved them aside like they were nothing, all while getting right up in Riley's face. The tension was off the charts, and you could feel the heat, pun intended, rising. It was an explosive moment, and Shaq knew it. But what could he do? The damage was already done. This practice incident marked the beginning of the end for Shaq in Miami. Soon after, the Heat traded him to the Phoenix Suns. And just like that, Shaq's chapter in Miami was over. The Heat's loss was the Suns' gain, though. Shaq would go on to have a solid run with Phoenix, proving that he still had some gas left in the tank. In the end, Shaq's time in Miami was tainted by all the drama, from his injury being called into question to the ugly fallout with Riley. Shaq's departure from Miami didn't just mark the end of a chapter for him. It was a reminder of the ugly side of the business. Riley's treatment of Shaq, especially after delivering the franchise its first ever title, was a slap in the face. Shaq had been the one to carry the Heat to that historic championship, and yet, he was thrown under the bus when things got tough. In his memoir, Shaq made it clear, Riley could have handled things better. He could have been more respectful, more direct, and above all, more professional. But instead, the relationship soured, and Shaq's legacy in Miami was forever changed. So, what can we take away from this? The world of professional sports isn't all glitz and glamour. Behind the scenes, things can get real messy. Whether it's injury accusations, personal drama, or just a clash of egos, the stories we don't hear about often carry the most weight. Shaq's relationship with Pat Riley might not have ended on the best terms, but it's a testament to how complicated the NBA world really is. When it comes to business, loyalty, and emotions, things can get ugly real quick. But hey, that's the NBA for you, and it keeps giving us stories like these. What do you think? Was Shaq right to feel betrayed by Riley? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and let's talk about it. And don't forget to subscribe to Celeb Titbit for more insider drama like this, because you know we're always keeping you in the loop.